EJ saves Bo process in the heart of Salem, where secrets and schemes are part of everyday life. One man has just shocked the town with a move that no one saw coming. EJ DiMera, known for his ruthless ambition, cold strategies, and unpredictable power plays, has made a stunning decision. He's buying the hospital. And not just for the sake of business. He's doing it, at least in part, to save Bo Brady's life. But there's more to this than headlines and contracts. For EJ, this decision isn't just about money, legacy, or even the DiMera name. It's also about Belle Black, the woman whose opinion of him matters more than he's ever admitted out loud. And in making this bold choice, EJ may have just taken his first real step towards something he rarely dares to pursue: redemption. Bo and Belle, a deep family bond. To understand why this matters so deeply to Belle, you need to know who Bo is. Bo Brady is Belle's uncle, the beloved younger brother of her mother, Kayla Brady. He's been a father figure, a protector, and a symbol of strength in their family for decades. Now, Bo lies in a hospital bed, fighting for his life after a sudden and severe case of sepsis. Doctors have tried everything, but Bo's only hope lies in a last-chance experimental drug and unapproved treatment buried in Salem Memorial Hospital's struggling research division. The hospital, unfortunately, is facing bankruptcy, and the research program is on the chopping block. Belle has watched helplessly as her family's hope fades. She's spoken to her mother Marlena, her aunt Kayla, and her cousin Sean. All of them are desperate but powerless. And then EJ makes his move. EJ's shocking announcement in a private meeting. EJ pulls Belle aside and delivers the news that leaves her speechless. He's going to buy Salem Memorial Hospital. It's not just a donation. He's acquiring full ownership, assets, staff, and most importantly, the research facilities that could produce the very treatment Bo needs to survive. Belle is stunned. She knows EJ, knows how he operates. He doesn't do anything without a motive. And yet, as he speaks, something in his voice feels different this time. This isn't just about business, he tells her. It's about doing the right thing for once. It's about helping someone who deserves a second chance. And Belle, it's about you. Belle's reaction, overwhelmed by gratitude. Belle tries to hold back her emotions, but her eyes well up with tears. For so long, she's questioned EJ's motives, wondered whether he could ever truly put others before himself. But this feels real. And she knows that if Bo lives, if he opens his eyes again, it will be because EJ chose to act. For Belle, the gesture cuts deeper than just gratitude. It hits at the core of her emotional conflict. EJ is a man she's cared for, fought with, trusted, and doubted. But now he's showing a side of himself that few ever get to see. A man willing to use his power for good. A man who chose to save her uncle because he knew what Bo meant to her. She hugs him tightly. Not as a lawyer protecting a client. Not as a woman guarding her heart. But as a niece who's just been handed a miracle for her family. You didn't have to do this, she whispers. I know, EJ replies softly. But I wanted to. For Bo. And for you. The town reacts. Is EJ changing? As word of EJ's hospital acquisition spreads through Salem, reactions are mixed. Kayla is shocked, but cautiously hopeful. Marlena, though skeptical of EJ's intentions, sees how much this means to Belle. Even Sean, Bo's son, acknowledges that without EJ, his father might never have a chance at recovery. Steve Johnson, however, remains unconvinced. He warns Kayla and Belle to keep their guard up. He's still a DiMera, Steve mutters. He doesn't do anything unless there's something in it for him. But Belle isn't so sure anymore. Could EJ truly be changing? Could this act of kindness, this bold, life-saving move, be the first sign of a new man? Behind the deal, is it all altruism? Even as the hospital transitions to EJ's control, questions linger. EJ now owns everything tied to the research, including any pharmaceutical breakthroughs like the miracle drug that could cure sepsis. If that drug succeeds, it could bring in billions. And with that kind of power, EJ could return to the top of DiMera Enterprises with ease. But Belle chooses to believe in the good for now. And if this was, in fact, a strategic move cloaked in compassion, at least Bo gets to live. The future, will Bo wake up? Will EJ stay true? As the new owner of Salem Memorial Hospital, EJ wastes no time. He orders immediate funding for the experimental treatment. The doctors move quickly, and the first stages of the drug trial are approved under emergency protocol. Kayla, as both Bo's sister and his physician, begins the treatment with trembling hands but renewed hope. And Belle? She stands by EJ's side, watching him with new eyes. Whether this marks a genuine transformation in EJ DiMera's heart or simply a very well-calculated play, only time will tell. But for now, Belle is thankful. Not just for what he's done for Bo, but for what he's done for her family. For showing up. For choosing to care. Coming up next in Salem. Will the treatment work, and will Bo finally wake up? How will Marlena and John respond to EJ's growing role in Belle's life? Will EJ's move backfire if secrets from the hospital's past come to light? And what will happen if Belle's feelings for EJ grow deeper? Stay tuned, because in Salem, love, loyalty, and power are always tangled, and nothing is ever simple. A hush settled over the corridors of Salem Memorial Hospital the morning Kayla Brady arrived, her heart pounding with an urgency she could almost taste. Every step toward the intensive care unit felt heavier than the last, as though the very air in the hallway resisted her passage. There, behind closed doors, lay Bo Brady, her beloved uncle, a man whose courage and compassion had been a beacon for their family for decades. Now, after a sudden and vicious bout of sepsis, he was unconscious, slipping further from them with each passing moment. As a doctor, Kayla understood the relentless logic of infection. As his sister, she refused to accept that logic as final. Inside Dr. Russell's neatly organized office, Kayla laid out her plea with trembling determination. Dr. Russell, head of the hospital's research division, was known for his meticulous standards and unwavering caution. His bookshelves brimmed with medical journals and framed commendations from conferences around the world. But those accolades did little to soften his resolve today. "The trial isn't complete," he explained quietly, gaze steady. "We cannot expose patients to unknown risks. It would be irresponsible." Kayla felt tears sting her eyes. She had marshaled every argument. The urgency of Bo's condition, the promise shown in the early data, the moral imperative to save a life. But Dr. Russell remained unmoved, bound by regulations she could not break. Later that afternoon, Steve Johnson found Kayla in her small office near the ICU entrance. He leaned against the doorframe, concern etched across his face. "Anything new?" he asked softly. Kayla shook her head, clenching her fists so tightly her knuckles turned white. "Dr. Russell refuses. He says bypassing protocol would risk lives." Steve's jaw tightened. He knew Bo had always been the kind of man who gave everything for others. Now, in his darkest hour, he deserved every chance to live. "There has to be another way," Kayla whispered, voice quavering between grief and defiance. Steve nodded, placing a steady hand on her shoulder. "We'll find it," he promised, though neither of them knew how. Dr. Russell's history shed light on his stance. A brilliant researcher recruited from a national biomedical center, he had once overseen a trial that ended in tragedy, patients harmed by an experimental therapy. Since then, he had viewed every new treatment through a lens of caution and regret. His compassion for patients was genuine, but his memories of loss were unyielding. When Kayla confronted him, he did not speak from indifference but from a haunted responsibility to protect lives, even if that meant denying hope in moments of crisis. Desperation drove Kayla to call her nephew, Sean Brady, later that evening. The line connected, and Sean's weary voice greeted her. "Aunt Kayla?" he said. "How is he?" Kayla's throat tightened. "They won't let me use it," she said. "Dr. Russell says it's too risky." Sean's breath caught. "But it was supposed to help him." Kayla drew a shaky breath. "I'm so sorry, Sean. Right now, there's no other option." Before Sean could respond, the office door swung open. Stephanie Johnson stepped in, her usual bright smile fading as she saw the anguish on Kayla's face. "What's wrong?" Stephanie asked gently. Kayla swallowed hard. "It's Bo," she said. "They won't give him the drug." Stephanie's eyes filled with tears as Kayla added, "At least Kimberly's condition is stable, but we still don't know about John." Word spread quickly to those closest to Sean. The next morning, he sought solace at the Bremen pub, the one place where life's troubles felt more bearable amid old wooden tables and familiar faces. Jada Hunter, ever his steadfast friend, slid onto the bench beside him, concern shining in her warm eyes. "Hey," she said, reaching across the table to squeeze his hand. "I'm here." Sean managed a wan smile. "Thanks," he whispered. "I thought you'd stay." Jada's expression turned serious. "I'm not leaving," she promised. Just then, Philip Kiriakis, Sean's uncle and constant supporter, joined them, settling into the seat next to Jada. "Anything I should know?" Philip asked gently. Sean took a deep breath and shared Kayla's news. Dr. Russell had refused the experimental drug. Philip's face darkened. "That's not right," he said softly. "Let's figure something out." After a moment of silence, Philip laid a reassuring hand on Sean's shoulder. "You're not alone, nephew." Then he stood and excused himself, leaving Sean and Jada to face the pain together. Their moment of support was brief. Kayla called again with final confirmation the drug was a dead end. Sean's shoulders slumped, the weight of despair pressing down. Jada's eyes glistened with sympathy as she reached across the table to place her hand on his arm. When Philip returned for a moment more of guidance and encouragement, he wrapped Sean in a quick embrace before heading out into the day's demands. Eventually, Jada had to leave to meet with the mayor on community matters, and Sean watched her go with a heavy heart. "Be safe," she said, kissing his cheek. Sean nodded. "I'm just going to run for a bit," he mumbled, then watched her disappear into the street. Alone at last, Sean's grief hardened into determination. He dialed Steve Johnson's number. "I have an idea," he said urgently. "I need to see you now." Within half an hour, Steve arrived at the Bremen pub inside a quiet corner. Kayla and Stephanie had joined Sean, tension thick in the air. "Steph's got her own problem," Sean said in a low voice. "Something was taken from her. Someone got hurt." Stephanie's face paled, but she remained silent. Sean then leaned in further. "We break into Dr. Russell's lab. We take those vials. It's the only way to save my uncle." Steve stared at him, stunned. The idea was reckless, illegal, even dangerous. Yet he saw the fire in Sean's eyes, a nephew's love, an uncle's betrayal by protocol, and a family's desperate hope. "How do we do it?" Steve finally asked, voice hushed. Sean outlined a night operation, security cameras looped, corridors empty after hours, a cloned keycard to unlock the research door. The stolen vials could then be handed directly to Kayla beyond Russell's control. "No one gets hurt," Sean insisted. "Dr. Russell won't know who to blame, but Bo will have his chance." Steve exhaled slowly, conscience racked by the moral compromise. Then, with firm resolve, he nodded. "I'm in," he said. And as they shook hands, the pact was sealed, a desperate act born from love, loyalty, and a willingness to defy a system that had failed them. The next morning, Stephanie arrived at Kayla's apartment with lunch, only to find her sister immersed in medical charts and worry. "I'm sorry, Steph," Kayla whispered, voice thick with tears. "I can't. Bo needs me." Stephanie nodded, understanding more than words could convey, and they embraced in a tight, sisterly hug before Stephanie slipped away, her own burden heavy. Meanwhile, Steve and Sean moved swiftly through the quiet hospital halls that night, clad in scrubs beneath their jackets. Every heartbeat echoed like thunder, adrenaline pushing them forward. When they reached Dr. Russell's lab, Sean's hand shook only slightly as he swiped the cloned card. The lock clicked, the door swung open. Inside, vials lined a stainless steel table, each one a potential savior. Steve scooped them into a padded case, and together they retraced their steps, ghosts in a building where their family's fate hung in the balance. Back at Kayla's side, they unveiled the stolen vials. Shane's voice cracked with relief. "It's done." Kayla's eyes shone with gratitude and hope as she prepared the first dose. Dawn found Kayla administering the drug with steady hands, her faith in science and love intertwined. Outside, Sean and Steve waited, holding their breath. Then, as the first hint of morning light touched the horizon, the heart monitor's flat line gave way to a faint but unmistakable pulse. In Salem, miracles are never simple, and every triumph carries a question. What price will they pay when Dr. Russell discovers the breach? Yet in this moment, as Bo Brady clung to life, one truth shone brighter than any rule: family comes first. And for Kayla, Sean, Steve, and Stephanie, the risk was worth the chance to save a life and to defy a fate they could not accept.